That's what Birchas Kohen Gadol.
It was a very restful class.
Ketzad. How did the Birchas Kohen Gadol go? So Moshe says like Chazan HaKnesses. Chazan HaKnesses means like the Gabbai of the shul. Noitel Sefer Torah. V'noisno l'Rosh HaKnesses. And he gives it like to the president of the shul. V'Rosh HaKnesses noisno l'Sgan. The president of the shul gives it to the Sgan Kohen Gadol. That's the one who was appointed together with the Kohen Gadol to be available if there's any problem with the Kohen Gadol.
Right.
V'Sgan noisno l'Kohen Gadol. And the Kohen Gadol, when it comes to give it to the Kohen Gadol, so the Kohen Gadol Oymed, Kohen Gadol gets up, Umakabo, and he accepts it. V'Koyre, and he reads from the Torah. What does he read? Achrei Mois and V'ach Ba'osa. Now the Pasha Achrei Mois reads about Yom Kippur.
Interesting that he says that the Kohen Gadol stands. Everybody else was sitting.
No, the Gemara will talk about that. So the Gemara V'Goyel, and then he rolls up the Sefer Torah. As a Torah, Umenicha B'Cheka, he holds it on his lap. And he says to the people, yes, there's even more that is additional that I didn't read to you, more than what I already read. Kosokan written in the Torah. And he says about Peh. Also, that means in Parshas Pinchas, in Chumash Bamidbar, it's called Chumash HaPekudim. Koira Apeh, he says it orally, not reading it from the Torah. And then the Mavarech Aleh, then he makes a bracha when he finished. He makes a bracha when we finish reading the Torah. We make a bracha Asher Nosan Torah Samas. And it makes Shmoina bracha, 8 brachas. One is Al Torah, which I just explained, that Ba'al HaVodah, that's it say, Ba'al HaDoyer, that's a type Shem Chonol HaHedis, and it actually explains because when there's a Vodah, so this Hadoah goes together, these two things go together. Ba'al oven, being at Yom Kippur, it makes a bracha that the Eibusher should be Moichel Klal Yisrael. Ba'al HaMikdash, he makes a bracha for the Beis HaMikdash. V'al Yisrael, v'al Kahanim, v'al Yishalayim, and v'ashar Tefillah. The Mishnah doesn't explain what's v'ashar Tefillah, the rest is a Tefillah, but that we'll see in the Gemara. So the Gemara. Shamas Minei, Chok and Kavod, the Talmud v'Makom Rav. The sense is that the Kohen Gadol is the most honored person over there. So why are you giving out kibudim to lower ranking people? So you see from here that it's proper that even though the Kohen Gadol is there, to give kavod to lower ranking people. Abaya said, Kula mishum kavod the Kohen Gadol. It's not that we're giving them kavod. It's a kavod to show how you reach. You have to keep going up and up a level till finally you reach the Kohen Gadol. Then it says the Kohen Gadol Oymed, Kohen Gadol gets up, Makabo and he accepts it, the Kohen and he reads. So the Gemara Binya said, Oymed, saying gets up. Mekal the Yeshivu, that he was sitting till now. So we have a problem. V'amamal, we learned En Yeshiva Bazara. You're not going to sit in there, Zara. Ela Malchus Beis David Bilvad, only for the king. That was a special thing with only Malchus Beis David, not even other Malachim. Because Malchus David is David Melchizedek Chai V'Kaim, is a perpetual thing. But the Kohen Gadol wasn't from Malchus Beis David. And Shenem Hashetin Pasuk, Vayave Amel David, Vayeshev Ufnei Hashem, Vayem Mi Onechi. So we see that he was sitting over there. So how come over here the Kohen Gadol? How come he's sitting? And for the Gemara, to the Rav Chisda gave a teretz taught this question when it was raised in a different direction. He gave a question that Be'ezras Noshim, this wasn't mamish in the Beis HaMikdash, and the Ezras Noshim wasn't Mekudesh. It's Hochinam, Mr. Said, we'll say over here, Be'ezras Noshim, we'll say that was in Be'ezras Noshim. And over there, anybody's allowed to sit.
Bezos Noshim, but he's not supposed to be in the Bezos Noshim.
What?
The man is not supposed to be in the Bezos Noshim. What is he coming
When there's women there.
Oh.
But the women were not there. Only the woman came only on simple special shaver. That they may take a special balcony for the woman to be there. Something more Meisvei. There's a question. Heichen Kaidenbo Bazoro. And the Belezer ben Yaakov Amma Baharabayis Shenama by Yikro Boy Gupnei Horochai Vasher Gupnei Shar Hanoshim. Amayim. Zot the Gemara that Amar Chusa Be'ezras Noshim. It was in Ezras Noshim. It wasn't mamish in the Beis HaMikdash. Then we learn V'koyre Achrei Mois V'ach Ba'osa. In fact, the Gemara Raminu Medalgim B'Navi V'ein Medalgim B'Torah. In when you read from a Navi, you're allowed to skip over pieces, but in the Torah you're not allowed to skip. Now this is talking all together, close together, but there's a skipping in between. And for the Gemara, that it depends. Kam b'dei shoy yifsek atogamon, kam b'dei shoy yifsek atogamon, and kam b'dei shoy yifsek atogamon. That means that that the kaida, the one who's reading, takes a certain amount of time. Then the maturgaman takes a certain amount of time to repeat it. So if Marshal, the in-between of the Turgaman, you wouldn't remain like just waiting now, so then you could skip. But if it's going to be too short, then you can't skip to skip. Is that the Gemara? No, let's start again. 1 minute. First, the Gemara says the question, Medalgam b'Navi, ve'ein medalgam b'Torah. That in the Torah, you can't skip from one place to another. Amar Abaye, like kasha, kam b'dei sheyifsek atogamun, kam b'dei shelo yifsek atogamun. So you're making that it depends, that in certain times you're allowed and then not allowed. In fact, the Gemara of Alokatani, it says over there, by that Bryce, it also says that Medalgim b'Navi, ve'ein Medalgim b'Torah. V'ad kama Medalgim, ad k'dei sheyifsek atogamun. That's b'nei to Navi. Mikral, the Torah, kal kaloi. So I say, how come over here they were skipping over? Elam Abaye Lakasha, a different teretz. Kan beginning, kan b'shnei inyonim. If it's the same minion, so you could skip a little bit from one to the other. Zok the Gemara v'Tanya. Over here, v'Tanya is not, Rashi says b'nichuso, it's a raya. V'Tanya, and we talk learned that medalgim b'Torah binyan echad, u'b'navi b'shnei inyonim. V'kan b'kan, it depends. B'dei sheyifsek atogamun. Be'ein medalgam minovi l'novi. You can't go like from Yeshaya to Yemayo. That you can't do. But of novi sheshnei masel, there's a small 12 neviim called shnei masel. Over there, medalgam. Over there, you could skip from one to the other. But over vat shelo yidalig b'seifa seifa l'tchilasim. You shouldn't skip backwards. In other words, that after you read Perek test, you shouldn't go back to Perek Gimel. Then it says, "V'goy as a Torah." He wraps the Torah. Umanicha b'cheikai. That says in the Mishnah. So the Gemara, "V'kol kach Lama. Why does he do this? And he says to them that it's written here. The Koma, more than what I told you is written, but I'm not going to take up the time. So why does the Kaka Koma? I'll say for Torah. People shouldn't think that there's a problem with the Sefer Torah.
That's why he's not reading it.
That's why he's not reading it. Then it says, "Ube'esel chodesh apekudim," in Parsha Pinchas in Bamidbar, Koid al Peh. Track the Gemara, V'lekacha l'Sefer v'likar. Why don't he was now in Vayikra, so why don't he roll up his Torah to Bamidbar and read over there? So the Gemara, Omar Rav Huna by Yehuda, Omar Rav Sheshes, She'ein goygon Sefer Torah b'tzibur, because you're not goygon Sefer Torah b'tzibur. And Mel say he didn't want that he couldn't roll up the Sefer Torah, and because he couldn't roll up the Sefer Torah, that's why he stopped where he was, and he says that it's written. He should say what's written someplace else. Track the Gemara, B'teises Sefer Torah. So take out two Sefer Torahs. Why? There's no problem. So the Gemara, Rav Huna Berei Bar Yehuda Amma Mishum Pegama Shorishon. If they'll take out two Sefer Torahs, so people will think that when they take the second Torah, that there's a problem with the first Sefer Torah, and now they're happy that they took out the second Sefer Torah. And if Shimon ben Lakashayim, Lefi she'ein mevochim bracha she'ein etzricha. Because if you go to the second day, you have to make again a bracha, and this way you don't make a bracha on the thing that he said about peh. Frek the Gemara, umicha shina lepagama. Are we concerned about that people who think that there was a pagam? That's why you have two Sefer Torahs. V'amar Reb Yitzchak Nafcha. There's Chodesh Tevis, the Chalgis, the Shabbos. So what Yom Tov is that? That's Chanukah.
Yeah.
There's Chodesh Tevis, Chalgis, the Shabbos. Maybe Sholosh Tevis. You take out three Sefer Torahs. The Koida Achas Mein Yonai, which is partially Kates, Mein Yonai Shayim. But Achas Sholosh Chodesh. And by Achas B'Shol Chanukah. So you see, why do you do that? Why aren't you concerned that people think that there's something wrong with Sefer Torah? And put the Gemara. Trosa Gabi, but Trosa Sifrei. If they see that you're taking this Sefer, and you have three different people being called up, so
they understand the Sefer Torah is okay.
People will understand it. B'chad Gavra, B'trei Sifrei, over here it's a coin, and with two Svarim, Ika Pagama, there would be people who think that something's wrong. Then it says in Baruch Shmoina Brachos. So the Gemara explains now the brachos. Tana Rabbanon. Mevachim ala Torah kederesh mevachim bebeis hakneses. You know, just like in shul, when we finish reading, we make a bracha. Also Torah Semes. Same thing over here. Also, you make a bracha. Then also be'al ha'avodah, because the kohen did the avodah for Yom Kippur, so that's let's say over there. Be'al ha'idor. That's the Chota Shimcha Haidus. But Mechilas Oven, Ketikuna. In other words, like it's done on Yom Kippur. Al HaMikdash B'fnei Atzmai. You make a separate bracha for the Beis HaMikdash. Ba'al Kahanim B'fnei Atzmai. Ba'al Yisrael B'fnei Atzmai. Ba'al Yishrayim B'fnei Atzmai. Then it says, Ba'al Shar Tfilah. It's not a bracha, but it's a tefillah. What does it mean? Tana Rabbana Asher Tefillah, Tchino, Rino, Ubakosha. What do you say over there? You say as follows: She'am Chiso Tzrichen Livosha. They even need a Yeshua. V'chaisam b'shemeya tefillah. So that's what it means. Like Shema Kaleinu. So that's when you shout tefillah, means that you make a tefillah, and in the end, shemei tefillah. Mikam be'elach, after this, kol echad ve'echad maybe sefer Torah mitei beisai, b'koyda boy. Everybody brings a sefer Torah from his house to the Beis HaMikdash, and they reading it. So koyda kol, But the Shaila, how could they bring a Sefer Torah from their house to the Beis HaMikdash? Stuck in Kippur, you're not allowed to carry. So Rashi says two things. One teretz says that there's a sheet that holds that you're not allowed to, that the din of not carrying doesn't apply to Yom Kippur. That's one teretz. Another teretz Rashi says is that Yishalayim had an Eitiv, and in the Eitiv you're allowed to carry.
It close the Shadim. It close the Shem, yeah.
So, B'chol kach lama. Now, what's the idea of everybody bringing his Sefer Torah? So the Gemara, lahara is chazusay l'rabim. Pashat the touch is to show off. Rashi explains that there's a difference that ke'uv and veil, and part of the Zekeh Veil means to have a nice Sefer Torah. So everyone comes with his Sefer Torah. I always have a problem when we're going to this piece of Gemara, and I think that it doesn't mean to show off. Even Rashi says over here, "L'haris chazusay shel Sefer Torah." Rashi says, "Noyay," and its beauty. The Amamar zeh ke'uv b'veil is not l'fanav b'mitzvos, which is the Sefer Torah. Sefer Torah is not, or b'tzitzis is not. But I think that, I didn't find this, but this was saying as far as I think. It's an Indian that agreement schus. In other words, you come in Yom Kippur to beg the Eibusher for a lot of things, so you want to show the Eibusher how much you respect him. And you're showing that each one had his own Sefer Torah, and it was a very nice Sefer Torah. So it's a limit schus on Yidden on Yom Kippur for Klal Yisrael. That's what I think is the pshat over here.
How come they all had a Sefer Torah?
Everyone had a Sefer Torah.
The mitzvah, everyone. The mitzvah
The mitzvah to write a Sefer Torah. Okay, now we'll go. So till now we learned about the Kohen Gadol. We also learned in the Mishnah before about Parshas HaMelech. That is a time when the Melech speaks, which is Hakel. So now we're going to explain that part of it. So the Mishnah, Parshas HaMelech Ketzad. How does that work? So the Mishnah says it's a little bit of strange language. Matzah Yom Harishon Shel Chag. Pasha the touch is the first day of Sukkot.
It's only one day after.
In Etzisol, you had only one day Sukkot. Then what was Chol Moed? So it's saying Matzah Yom Rishon Shel Chag. Bishmini.
The year.
So, Bishmini is a little bit of contradiction over here. The Gemara is going to ask, what if there's no 8 days to, first you say Mitzvah Yonta, then you say Bishmini, the 8th day. Okay?
The year.
The Gemara is going to explain that. And the Mitzvah Shviyas, they're giving you a lot of simonim, that's Mitzvah Shviyas. Also, they make a bima, a special place for the kohen in the Azorah. He sits on it. And that's in Itzavim Vayelch is this pasuk over there. And what happens over there? Chazan HaKnesses, the Gabbai takes the Sefer Torah. V'noisna v'rosh HaKnesses gives it to the president. V'rosh HaKnesses, noisna l'sgan. L'sgan, noisna l'malach.
No, Kohen Gadol.
Noisna l'Kohen Gadol. Kohen Gadol noisna l'malach. V'amelach oimed u'mekabel b'kaira. Yoshev. He reads it sitting. You know, he got up to take the Sefer Torah, and he sits down, and he reads, opens up the Torah, and he reads it. Now the Mishnah tells you now what followed. Agrifas HaMelech. Agrifas HaMelech was in the time of the second Beis HaMikdash. There was a revolt over there with the head of the Chashmonaim, and they took over the Malchus. Really, Malchus didn't belong to Chashmonaim. Because Chashmonaim were not. So Agrippus was one of their people.
Agrippus was from Hordos. This is
It's
Aristobulus.
the time of Horus. Not
He
like,
was Aenico.
yeah.
He was.
I said at the time.
Were fighting between themselves, and one of them brought the Romim.
That in English it's called Herod.
Yeah.
So the mission says as follows: that Agrippus HaMelech, Ahmad, when they gave him the Torah, he got up. The Kibo, he accepted it. The Kara Aymed,
He stood when he
he
said
didn't he didn't sit down like we said it before. V'shivchu Chachamim, and the Chachamim praised him. They told Machinu Ata, we'll see in the Gemara about it. Ukeshegia, Letucha Roses Aracha Ish Nachi, so he wasn't fit to be a king. So when he came to this person, Zogu ain't of the Mois, he began to cry. Because he realized that there's a problem with him. Amaloi, they said to him, Atishore Agrippus, Achinu Ato. Achinu Ato.
His mother was Jewish.
V'koyre metchila, and that finished that.
Sure what happened.
Now he said, V'koyre metchila eila advarim. He starts reading from the beginning of Chumash Dvarim, Ad Shema, till Baschana, then Ushma, and he reads Shema, V'hoya im Shemaya, and he reads Asa to Asa, what we read on a Yontav, and Kitachal Rasa Vidu Bikurim, Mavarach Oisom.
No, Parshas HaMelech.
Let's skip the one.
Parshas
Kol
HaMelech.
Parsha Bills the Kohen Gadol.
No, go to you one more.
Parsha Melech, Brachos Uklorus.
Right.
That's the Teichacha. Ad Sheyim Kol Parsha. Then there's Brachos Shakohen Gadol Mavarach Oisam, Amelech Mavarach Oisam. The same brachos that we went there before. So the king also makes those brachos. Ella Shenoisen the Golem Takas Mechilas Oven. The Melech, the Kohen Gadol was on Yom Kippur. So being it's on Yom Kippur, so he makes a bracha for Mechilas Oven.
He did.
Here we're talking about Sukkot, so it doesn't fit in
So
Mechilas Oven.
he did-
So instead of Mechilas Oven,
He did
he makes a
Shoshan.
bracha Mekadosh Yisrael Vazmanim. In fact, the Gemara, Bishmini, Sakadaita, doesn't seem, how could it be the 8th day? The 8th Sukkot doesn't have 8 days. And Ema, it says, Ema, Bishminis. Bishminis means the 8th year. In other words, after Shemitah, the 7-year cycle passes,
Eighth
then
year.
in the 8th year. In fact, the Gemara, Hani, why does he give it all these Bishminas and Motzoi Shviyah, and why is it giving you all these things? That's the Matzricha. The Ikos Rachmana Mikates. If it would just say Mikates without talking about Shemitah, Haba Mina Nimni Mahasha. We should count from now, from when the Yidden came in there as the soul, count 8 years, regardless if it comes out Shemitah or not, count 8 years. V'afagav, the Lem Esrami B'Shmitah, even though it will not be the year after Shemitah. Therefore, Kosev Rachmana, Shemitah, that it has to be a year that follows Shemitah. V'ikos Rachmana Shemitah, Havamina B'Soif Shemitah, which means in Elul, the end of the year Shemitah. So Kosev Rachmana B'Moyed, and B'Moyed means a Yontav. The Yontav is not at the end. V'ikos B'Moyed Havamina Reish Yacha, that should be on Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the year. It's therefore Kosev Rachmana B'Chag HaSukkos. V'ikos Rachmana B'Chag HaSukkos, Havamina, Afilu Yontav Achar, even Shmini Atzeres, which is a connection to Sukkot. Kosev B'Voy Kol Yisrael, which is Me'eschalta the Moyed. The Yidden, when they come to be Olerego, They come in the beginning of the Yom Tov. Then it says, V'chazan HaKnesset, same thing as we had before. V'chazan HaKnesset is not to say v'tayrim. V'noisam v'rosh HaKnesset, shamet minei chok m'kavod u'tam v'mokom marav, that you give out kibudim in the place of the other mechoshev, or mabaya kulam mishum k'vayda the melech. Then it says, v'hamelech oimed, the king gets up, u'mekabel, v'kayda yoshev. He reads it sitting. But Agrippas HaMelech Amad v'kibel v'kara oimed. Zot the Gemara. If you say that the king gets up, mikral the yoshev, he was sitting. V'amamah we're going to en yeshiva bazara, el malcha bedavid bilvad, shenem v'yaveh HaMelech David v'yeshiv v'nei Hashem. He was the only one. And for the Gemara, we said the test before, because the Gemara of Chislam, Bezos Noshim. This is an Ezra's Noshim. Now the Gemara says that the people praised Agrippas. So the Gemara, V'shivchu Chachamim, back to the Gemara, if you're saying that V'shivchu, that they praised him, it wasn't some, they said lies. It's mikras that it seems from this, the shaper of it.
Did good.
They did right. V'oma Rav Ashi, afilu man di'ama nasi shemachu akvayda. Kvayda machu, but melech shemachu akvayda is ain't kvayda machu. In other words, what right did he have, if it is supposed to sit, when you do it, what right did he have to get up? To stand, in other words, he was Michael. But a king's not allowed to be Michael. Shenama, Shem Tos Melech HaMelech, Shetahei a Mosei Elecha. You should have a fear for him. And for the Gemara, Mitzvah Shani, we bow that this was a mitzvah, and it was a mitzvah who covered the Eivishah. So it's not stam a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah that will cover the Eivishah, reading the Torah and everything. So that he's allowed to be Michael. Then it says, when he came to Asuch, so the people, he cried, and the people said to him, Achinu ato. Said the Gemara, Tana Mishmeid Reb Nosson, Ba'oisa Shah, at that time, Nischayvu Saini Yisrael Kliya. In other words, Saini Yisrael is the opposite. That means the Yidden. He doesn't want to say the Yidden. He says Saini Yisrael. The Saini Yisrael to be destroyed. Why? She'echnifuloi la'Agrippas, because they flattered Agrippas. Omer Reb Shimon ben Chalafta, miyom shegover a groifer shachanufa, from as soon as flattering became exceptional, nisafsu hadinim. So things became crooked. Niskalku hamaisim. Ve'ein odom yochel leim b'chaveirei maaseh gedolim maasecha, because all the people that you can't say I'm better than you. What do you mean I'm better than you? And everyone knows that. So it's all because of flattery that they became recognized as this. Huh? They became recognized because of flattery. Something more. Dorish Rabbi Yehuda Bar Marava. V'itaymer Rabbi Shimon ben Pasi mutter lahachna l'shoyin ba'olam hazeh. You're allowed to flatter a Russia in over here, Shanama. Le'ikora oid, that when Mashiach will come, is le'ikora oid l'novo nodiv. Novel means a low-life person. You wouldn't call him a generous person. Or le'kili le'yema shua. Also, like the stingy person, I wouldn't say that he's good. Mikral, the boy mazah shori. That will be when Mashiach comes. But I said,
what will be different?
And if Shimon Barakesh, there's a raya from the Torah that you're allowed to say something good about a Russia. What's the raya Torah? It states that Yankiv said to Esav, Kirois Penei Elokim V'Titzaini. That I feel like you're a great person, you know.
And it wasn't
Says that the Gemara, Uprigi the Reb Levi. In other words, Reb Levi disagrees. Reb Levi doesn't hold that Yankov was flattering him. No, so what was he telling him? That the Homer Reb Levi saw Moshe Yankov ve'Esav. How do we explain this story that happened to Yaakov and Esav? The Adam, the person, Shaziman es Chaverei. A person was invited. Someone invited him. Vehika boy, and the one who was invited realized Shemavakash Laharga, that he wants to kill him. So how do you protect yourself? Malay said to him, you know, this dish that you gave me, Tam, Tavshul Zeh, this dish that you gave me, the Shani Toyim, which I'm tasting, is Ketavshul Shata'amti, but Beis Hamel, it reminds me of my day when I was by the king, they gave the same thing. So what's the shot? Omar, he said to him, Yoda Le Malcolm,
This guy.
so, you know the king, Mustafa, so he gets frightened. He thought that he's going to kill him or do him harm. But Mustafa, Veloy, and he didn't kill him. So there's two ways to tie chases, Yankov and Esav. Either the Yankov was Mechanef, Esav, or the Yankov wanted Pasha to say to him that I have connections to God.
You gotta do chanfanas, you gotta do the Rashef to save your life.
Right. Something more. Omer Rabbi Elazar said, Kol Adam sheyesh b'chanufa maybe afu eilim. He brings anger to the world. Shenema v'chanfe leiv yasimu af. Okay. Not only that, elo she'ein tefillah in the shmas. His tefillah is not accepted. Shenema loy yishvohu ki asidim. It means they can't beg because I don't accept them. I lock them up. Now that the Gemara, V'yomer Rabbi Elazar, you see, skip the simon. V'yomer Rabbi Elazar, kol adam sheyesh b'chanufa, afil ubim shemei ima mekalun oisei. Even children that are in the womb of a mother, they also curse him. Shenem Hashem pasuk, oime l'rosha tzadik ato, yakubu amim, yazmu l'umim. Yakubu means cursing. Yazmu means that they'll say bad things about him. Ve'en koiv el kolo. Shenem Hashem pasuk kill. Bilam said, how could I curse him with cover kill? So you see that koiv has to do with cursing. Ve'en l'umim el ubrim. And umim means a baby in the womb, an embryo. Shenem Hashem oim eloim yamos. When Rivka came, she was pregnant. V'yom Rabbi Elazar, kol adam sheyesh b'chanufa neifel b'gehenim. Shenema hevi ha'oimim l'ra toiv ra maksiv achav l'chein ka'avo kash l'shain eish, like a piece of fire burns up the straw. V'chashash l'hava yirafa. It'll